So this next video is regarding sort of getting into Drive for the first time and navigating and looking around Drive. And when I say Drive, I mean Google Drive. Here we are logged in again as we were in the first video. I've hit my home button, which puts me at Google. And again over here, I can find my Google Apps. I will click there and I will open Google Drive. And inside here, this can be organized any really particular way you want. You can see that I have no files in this drive. I do on my other accounts, but not on this one. And over on the left-hand side, we have some options. We have My Drive. If you see that little drop-down arrow, it basically, if there was anything in our drive folder-wise, it would start to show here, a little bit like Internet Explorer. Or sorry, Microsoft Windows Explorer, in terms of navigation. So it would show my subfolders of those subfolders, files, etc., and I can pretty much navigate anywhere. That means that from over here, I can drag files in and drop them. I'll show you that in a further video. Under here, we have recently added, recently shared, recently anything, and you can see I have two files appearing here. They view this way instead of in a list because of my options on this side. Over on the right, you can see I have a list view, which shows me who shared it, how the file size and other details, and shows me in a list the titles of the documents. Or I can do thumbnail view. For organizing your own drive, thumbnail view sometimes becomes very handy, and I'll show you that as well in a later video. Up here I have the option here to add to my drive these different documents. Again, I can go to shared with me and they're both there as well. So anything recently added is under recent. Anything shared with me is under shared. Now, like I said, when I go back to recent and I click on one of those, I haven't yet added them to my drive. If I would like to share it further to someone else, I can do so. If I would like to get a shareable link and send someone a link, like a URL, so be it. If I'd like to preview the document, I can click that as well, and it gives me an idea. If I would like to delete it, there we go. And if I want to add it to my drive, I can do it this way. And there are more actions. I can star it, I can rename it, I can make copies, I can manage versions, and I can download it. 100 different things to do. For the purposes of this, because I'm under shared with me, I am going to show you how to navigate your files into your drive. One way is to click on the file and say add to drive. The other way is simply to drag it over and drop it under my drive. I know it sounds strange that I'm inside my drive looking at a file under shared with me and it's not in my drive. You have to actually add it to your drive to see it further in your drive down the road. So I'm going to move it over, and I'll move this over as well. Now when I click on my drive, my files are here. In order to organize, which I suggest you start with right off the bat, you would probably like to right-click and create a new folder. From the right-click option, we can do a lot of things. We can do pretty much everything we can do under this nice red New button. If I click the same button, you can see I have the same options. Under More, I have more of the Google Apps, and I can connect more apps if I choose. But I have Google Forms, Drawings, Google Maps, Slides, Sheets, and Docs. Docs is basically Word, Microsoft Word, but free. A little more collaborative as well. Google Sheets is just like Excel, a little more collaborative too. And Google Slides, same thing, just like PowerPoint and a little more collaborative. The interesting part of this is that we can actually work together on these documents simultaneously in the same document. In a collaborative way, students, teachers, professionals, whatever you like. Word, we can't, so not the same way anyway. So that's why these features are here. I use them quite often. And I can make new documents. I can upload files here. I can upload a folder from my desktop or a file from my computer, or I can create a new folder here. That's under the New button, but I get the same thing when I right-click, and the same options are there. So I'm going to go ahead and create a new folder. And just for this example, I'm going to call this Word Documents. And I say Create. And there's my folder. I'm also going to create a new folder and I call it PDF Documents. And I'm going to create that too. Now, interestingly enough, if I pull my screen over, you guys have seen this happen before. I basically grab the top bar up here, left click and hold it down and pull down. Now I can move it around until I have a half screen. And there we go. I would like to show you in the moment here, as well as making these folders, how to actually bring a file into here. So this is a video file I created, creating a Google account, etc. I can drag and drop, literally drag and drop that in. It says copy, and as you can see down the bottom, and when I turn that off and get that out of the way, I drag this over, it says drop files to instantly upload them to my drive. So I'll go ahead and do that. And now I have a feature here. It's saying it's uploading. And the upload's complete, and there's my video. Just that fast. Now be careful of uploading videos to Drive because you have limited storage. If you have a free account, I paid for a small upgrade which gave me 150 gigabytes, but you or yourselves might only start, I think, with 15 gigabytes. So a lot of video in here will take up a lot of space, just an FYI. Another way to do that is to put it online, which I have also done. And here's the link for it, so I can drag a link and drop a link right in here too. And sure enough, it appears. Right here we can see, if I look at the properties or list, I think it would show me. Yep, it's a YouTube URL. You can see it right there. And basically, when I double click on it, I can connect apps that allow me to view this, or I can do G-links, link to, etc., which allow me to go straight to the link. Or again, the option is to download it, but I will get to that later. So for now, I've added those two. I'm going to go into one more folder and pull over another resource, just to give you another example. Something like options budget, let's say. An Excel file. Okay. Now I'm going to change my view again and put it like this. So this is the moment where I might add another folder called video, and maybe another folder called links, and another folder called Excel files. Why not? Okay, and just to further the example one more time, you could even do this with images or image files. So for example, I'll pull over this Honda Accord picture, and when I pop it up, here we go. So maybe I'll make one more folder and I'll call it images. Now right off the bat, I have a way to organize this. However, I have a bunch of folders on the top, and again, this is in thumbnail view. List view would be like this, and as the list gets bigger, you have to scroll down, so it's a little bit more tricky. At this point though, I'm going to look in thumbnail view so I can organize it better. It will always put your folders along the top horizontally, and always put your documents, your files, your pictures, your images, your URLs, and your video files underneath, which it has done for me. This is because it makes it much, much easier to organize this stuff. So I will click on my Word document and drop it into Word documents. I'll click on Excel and bring it over to my Excel file. I will move my video into video, my URL into links. This is it looks like this, but it is actually a web link. My PDF into PDF, and my image into images. And if I look at those again, we have it underneath. A nice way to navigate in between your drive is you can use this over here, as I said. And now we see that if I just had my drive and I click that arrow on the left side here, I can see all the files underneath, and when I click on those files, I can see what's inside them, etc., etc. So let's just say under here, under links, I wanted to create a new folder. If I select new and folder out in this space, I'll create a new folder just like the other ones I created, which will not be useful to us if we want to create a folder inside links. So do so, and this works the same way with all of the features under new. When I want to do documents or upload things or sheets or slides or any of these other options, if I want it in a particular folder, I should go into the folder first. Now I'm in, I can see my drive links. I'm inside the folder, and now I can create a new folder. And I'm going to call it Professional Links. And I'll create that folder, and maybe I'll do one more, and I will call it personal links. Then create that folder too. So as you see, I have folders within folders now inside my links. So if I go back to my drive and I'm navigating here, I can go under links. We're at personal and professional. Now maybe I want to, and you can see that the arrow popped up under links now. When I click that arrow, I can see personal and professional. So if I had this file, this URL back under my drive, see, and I can just click it up very easily. I can come over here and drop it wherever I want just by left clicking and holding the file. Wherever I end up putting it, if I make a mistake or it's somewhere lost in my drive, I pick it up right by left clicking and I can drop it in drive over here, bring it to any folder I want, etc. I can trash it, whatever. So I'm going to put it back in my drive just to show you this example, and I'm going to go back out. And now I have creating a Google account. I would call this probably more a professional link. And my drive might look something like this right now. So I'm going to grab that link by left clicking. I'm going to hold it and just make sure I can drag it around. Of course I can come up here and put it like this. As your drive gets bigger and more complicated, that becomes a lot harder to do. You have a lot more folders, and I'll show you that in a future video. You don't want to spend your time looking for that. It's much, much easier to use the Explorer feature where you come over here and hover over Drive, come down through your folders, hover over links, which opens them up. I have the personal option and the professional, and I let go of my left mouse button, and it is now there. And if I go in to verify that under professional, there it is. That is basically the nuts and bolts of retrieving, and I shared these for an example, but retrieving a file or creating files inside here, moving them into folders, creating folders, and starting to think about maybe how you're going to organize your entire drive, because it does get complicated. So folders within folders, etc., etc. Moving files around using the Explorer over here. And as you build and grow, this gets much, much larger, as you can assume. And if somebody shares something with you, how to retrieve it. If you've done recent activity, how to see it, etc., etc. And what to do with all of it, how to move it around. And again, I can move it straight from where it was shared, straight from recent, right into any of those files, anytime I wish. We also touched briefly on some of these things like view. The other option under Drive is the A to Z, so I can kind of list it last modified, modified by me, last opened by me. I can get information on view details when I'm looking at it, and it would show me basically what I've done recently, all of my activities, all of my details. When I select a folder, it gives me the folder's details when they were created, and so on and so forth. Settings we'll get into later on. Preliminary use of setting up Drive.